The gates of Karak-Dur did not tremble when the Virel-Khaz arrived, but the mountains around them seemed to listen. They came in a tide of bone and shadow, towering figures clad in jagged armor stitched from rib, spine, and something darker, abyssal plates that seemed to drink the light. Their banners were strips of flayed hide, their weapons crude in shape, yet terrible in weight. They had crushed human villages, scattered elven outriders, and broken lesser holds without slowing. And now they stood before the dwarves. Upon the battlements, the Thane of Karak-Dur watched in silence, his expression unreadable beneath his braided beard and iron crown. Around him, ranks of dwarven defenders stood ready, disciplined, unmoving, their shields interlocked like the walls of the mountain itself. A horn blared from below. One of the Virel-Khaz stepped forward, taller than any ogre, wrapped in bone armor fused into its flesh. Its voice was a grinding avalanche.
Dwarves, we have come to take what is beneath your stone. Come out and be broken, or remain and be buried.
A murmur passed through the dwarven ranks, but the Thane raised a hand.
No war,
He called down, his voice steady as bedrock.
not yet. You want our halls, then earn them.
A pause. The Virel-Khaz shifted.
Speak.
A challenge.
The Thane said.
Champion against champion. One battle. Winner takes all.
Laughter rippled through the invaders, low, cruel, confident. From their ranks emerged something larger still, their champion. It was massive even among them, a hulking beast wrapped in layered bone armor so thick it resembled a walking fortress. In its hands, it carried a club the size of a young tree, its surface studded with jagged vertebrae. It stepped forward, the ground cracking beneath its weight.
Accepted.
The dwarves did not cheer. Instead, the Thane turned, scanning his people, then nodded once.
Send him.
From the rear ranks, a figure shuffled forward. He was small, even by dwarven standards. His beard was singed in places, his apron still dusted with ash. In one hand he carried a simple smith's hammer, well used, unadorned. Upon his head sat a sturdy mythril helm, polished but plain. No runes, no trophies, no ceremony. Just a craftsman. The Virel-Khaz burst into open mockery.
This is your champion?
Even their leader tilted its head, amused. The craftsman said nothing. He simply stepped out beyond the gates and onto the field, adjusting his grip on the hammer as though preparing to shape a stubborn piece of iron. Above, one of the dwarven captains leaned toward the Thane.
Are you certain?
The Thane did not look away.
He is.
The Virel-Khaz champion looked down at its opponent and almost didn't bother raising its weapon.
How will you strike me?
It rumbled.
When you barely reach my knee.
The dwarf didn't answer. That was the second thing the Virel-Khaz misunderstood. The first came a moment later. With a roar, the towering brute lifted its colossal club and brought it crashing down directly onto the dwarf's head. The sound rang like a bell struck by a god. A shockwave rippled outward, stone cracked, dust burst into the air, and the ground shuddered beneath the impact. But the dwarf did not move. The mythril helm held, and the force, magnified, redirected, shot back up through the weapon. The Virel-Khaz champion staggered. The club vibrated violently in its grip, the shock racing through bone and sinew, rattling its arms, its chest, its skull. The beast's eyes flickered, its stance faltering as the reverberation disoriented it. Apparently, a dwarf's head was not the place to strike. That was its first mistake. The second came too quickly to correct. In the instant the giant hesitated, the dwarf moved. A single step forward, efficient, measured. He raised his hammer, not high, not dramatically, and brought it down onto the creature's exposed foot. There was a crack, not of bone, but of something deeper, structure, balance. The Virel-Khaz howled, its massive frame buckling as pain forced it forward, bending at the waist, exactly as the dwarf intended. Because now it was within reach. The hammer rose again. This time the swing was clean, precise, and devastating. It connected under the creature's chin with a force utterly disproportionate to the dwarf's size. The impact snapped the giant's head back with a thunderous crack. The sound echoed across the field like a breaking pillar. The Virel-Khaz champion collapsed. Not staggered, not wounded. Finished. Silence followed. Absolute, stunned silence. The invaders stared as their unstoppable champion lay motionless at the feet of a soot-covered craftsman who had not taken a single step more than necessary. One of the Virel-Khaz, thinner than the rest, shifted uneasily.
I said
It muttered, almost to itself.
Something was wrong. They did not fortify. They did not flee.
No one answered it, because now they understood. The dwarves had never been afraid. The Thane stepped forward on the battlements.
The terms were clear,
He said.
You have lost.
The Virel-Khaz did not argue. For all their brutality, they were not fools. Not anymore. Something in the way the dwarf still stood there, calm and unhurried, made even their abyssal armor feel suddenly insufficient. Without another word, they began to withdraw. Not in panic, but not in arrogance either. The gates of Karak-Dur closed once more. Inside, the dwarven defenders returned to their posts. The tension faded. The mountain exhaled. And in a quiet forge chamber, the champion of Karak-Dur sat at his bench. He turned his helm slowly under the light, examining the small dent at its crown. He grunted. He picked up a cloth and began to buff it out with practiced care, as though the battle had been nothing more than a minor interruption in his work. To him, it had been. After all, a good tool should always hold up under pressure. This has been a chapter from the Negsbane Iron series. Follow at Negsbane for more.